Check 1 2 1 2. Good evening, everyone. Sean Kimball here with Rockdale County Public Relations Department. Please remember, if you are here for public comment, to keep your microphone muted the entire time until you are called upon by the chairman to speak. We are live on Facebook, YouTube, the website, which means those that are watching on Facebook right now or any of those others, you can watch on facebook.com/RockdaleGov. You can go on YouTube and search for Rockdale 23, and you'll find the page with the Rockdale 23 logo. Or you can watch it on the website at rockdalecountyga.gov. Once you get to the home page, you can scroll all the way down to the bottom of the page, and you'll see it there.
All right, well, thank you, Sean, and good evening. This is Jennifer Rutledge, and it is 7 o'clock, so I think we'll go ahead and get started. And with that, I'll turn it over to Chairman Nesbitt.
Well, thank you, Director Rutledge, and good evening, Commissioner Washington and Commissioner Williams. And good evening, Rockdale County. This is our very first work session in quite some time throughout the pandemic, but we are so excited about bringing the work session back to not just the Board of Commissioners, but to the citizens of the county. So we call this meeting to order tonight. Director Rutledge, there is no special recognitions or presentations tonight. We'll jump right into, Commissioners, the agenda review. We'll go item by item. And once we complete that, we'll move into public comment. Then we'll have opportunity for board comment from both of the commissioners. And if there's a need tonight, somebody might just make a motion for an executive session. Then after that, we will adjourn this meeting. So let's jump right into it and move right on with agenda review, starting with the first item. Director Rutledge.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The first item that we are going to begin with tonight is item 2021-103, and that is the Animal Care and Control Strategic Plan. And with that, I'll turn it to Chief Cave so that he can go over the plan.
Thank you, Director Rutledge. Mr. Chairman, Commissioners, the actual presentation will be handled by Director Morgan. I'll chime in with some highlights where needed, but Director Morgan, if you'll go ahead and start the presentation, please.
Thank you, Chief. Commissioners, Chairman. Before you is the Animal Care and Control Strategic Plan. This is a plan that was started back in 2020, and we had numerous meetings and input from the citizens and animal groups in the area. It's an ambitious plan that will take place over the next 48 months to expand and revamp the Animal Control Division and the shelter. And it has some major initiatives in it. We are very excited about it. It is everything from developing a vision and a mission statement to having core values to ultimately having a goal of becoming a no-kill shelter. And part of that is establishing a TNR, or a trap, neuter, and release program for feral cats, increasing the number of adoptions, expanding the shelter, increasing how we interact with the community, and down to new name, new logo, new website, and new training and educational and certification opportunities for our staff. It's just the first step in a number of big steps to move animal control into the 21st century. So it is before you. Do you have any questions?
Commissioner Washington, do you have any questions for Director Morgan?
I don't have any questions. I do have comments when that is appropriate.
All right, I think you can go ahead and, on this particular issue, go ahead and share your comments.
Sure. I remember, it seems like an eon ago because it was right before we shut down. When we started on this journey, and we had a group of concerned citizens who were rightly concerned about the amount of time and attention that we were putting into animal control. And they came together and said they wanted us to put more time and attention into animal control and come up with something that would move Rockdale County into the 21st century as it pertains to how we treat the animals that animal control engages in. And from that was birthed this strategic plan. And I've read over it as actually a couple of times, and I've been conversing with a few of my friends that were very adamantly involved or intricately involved in this process. And I must say that I'm quite pleased with the overall objective. This has given us, number one, a mission that I was very adamant that part of the mission statement is that we become a no-kill agency. And that's going to take time. We have to set the groundwork in order to become a no-kill agency. And once we become a no-kill agency, then we will be in the upper echelons of communities that have an animal shelter. But we have to put other things in place. You don't go from ground zero to the very top in a year. And the more the more detail that we put in a plan, that constrains us, because we also have to look at budget constraints and time constraints and training constraints and all those other things. So I will say that I'm very, very proud of this plan. I'm very proud of the fact that we have listened to the concerns of the citizens. I'm very glad that we have put realistic goals and timelines in place with this plan. I'm very glad that Commissioner Williams asked for us to step back and put a couple of more things into the plan that she thought would make this a more viable plan. And we've done that. So at this point, I'm very proud of this plan. And this is a first step. This is our ground zero. This plan is going to take at least 3 years to implement, but it's only 3 years. And I think that this is something that we can hang our hats on and be proud of it. I'm very proud of the community activism, and I'm very proud of the staff in this. So I commend everybody who's done all of the hard work for putting this plan together. And I'm excited about what it's going to become, especially the new logo and everything else. All three of us are pet lovers. We all have pets that we take care of. So I think that this plan actually shows our commitments to our furry friends.
Thank you, Commissioner Washington. Commissioner Williams, any comments from you or questions?
Well, I could just say everything that Commissioner Washington just said. And I, in addition, I would just say that how much I appreciate the time and the effort and the many, many hours just in the last few weeks, since we discussed this before, that has been put into editing and revising and updating the plan from version 12 to version 13. I really, really appreciate CG's work and Director Morgan's work in putting a real face to what Animal Control Services is doing and providing for our community. So thank you very much.
All right. Well, thank you both, Commissioner Washington and Commissioner Williams. One of the things I want to do, Director Rutledge and Chief Cape, just remind all of those folks who are watching tonight, because we've had so many voting sessions. Tonight is a work session. It's an opportunity for the Board of Commissioners to discuss and have dialogue, to debate, and talk about all of the items that are on the agenda tonight. We will not be making a vote tonight. In fact, that vote will take place on next Tuesday, and tonight is simply a work session. So I wanted to make sure we pointed that out, and so that everybody who's watching the broadcast would clearly understand. So I think at this point, that pretty much clears that up, Chief Cade, Director Rutledge. And Director Morgan, did you have any addition that you wanted to add to that piece?
No, sir, not really. We're just excited about it, and CG and I can't wait to start work on it.
Okay, all right, very good, very good. All right, so next item, please.
All right, Mr. Chairman, the next item will be item 2021-113, and that's the amendments to the employee pay and classification plan. And we have Deputy Director Carter that's going to address that item.
Good evening. Thank you, Director Rutledge. Hello, Chairman, Madam Commissioners. So what we're doing today, or what we will propose to do, is to update our classification structure by title, and that is with the removal of inactive job descriptions. We do that periodically. We also made an update to the Deputy Director of Finance title position. We would like to change it to the Deputy Director of Finance. Same language, just changing the order. And we're also making some changes to the organizational structure of the Clerk of Courts, Probate Court, State Court, and Superior Court. No new positions, but making some changes there after the appointment changes.
All right. I'll start with Commissioner Washington. Commissioner Washington, any questions for Deputy Director Carter on this matter?
None at this point, but I might have one in just a minute. If you can go to Commissioner Williams, please.
All right, Commissioner Williams.
No, I'm good with this. I'm glad we're getting these org charts finalized especially for our clerk, our court system, our Clerk of Courts, our Probate Court, our State Court, Superior Court, and our Chief Superior Court. There have been changes in all those areas. And so with that movement, there needed to be an update. So thank you very much for the work that was done by talent management.
Outstanding, outstanding. Thank you, Commissioner Williams. Let's go back to Commissioner Washington. I think she was gathering her thoughts. Commissioner Washington.
I think I'm okay for right now.
All right, very good. Deputy Director Carter, thank you so much. Director Rutledge, next item, please.
All right, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Now we are going to go into the regular agenda portion, and the first one that's up is item 116, and that is with the Georgia Emergency Management and Homeland Security Agency. Through our EMA department, it's Emergency Management Performance Grant for the fiscal year 2020. It's the acceptance of the grant amount in the amount of $25,565. And we have got Director Morgan here, should you have any questions.
Commissioner Washington, any questions concerning this grant for EMA?
So is this the EMA? Does this go towards the funds expended for COVID?
No, Commissioner, this is an annual grant that GEMA gives to all the EMAs in Georgia based on population, and it's used to help fund the equipment and programmings that EMA uses for sheltering or any, we get this every year.
Okay, so the summary doesn't say that it was approved equipment and supplies for COVID and disaster responses? Am I looking at the wrong one?
No, it should be for equipment for disaster responses and some COVID supplies for this year and for next year that EMA purchases as a department using this grant. We have to put a match with it for our funds. Last year, we bought sheltering supplies with this.
Okay, but this is only for EMA. It doesn't go to any other department or office or constitutional officer.
That is correct. This is an annual grant to the EMA departments through GEMA.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Commissioner Williams, any concerns on that one? Okay, I think you're shaking your head no. All right, so that clears that up. Director Rutledge, next item, please.
All right, thank you. The next item is number 117 with Pittman Construction Company. This is through our transportation department. It's for the roundabout at Klondike Road, McDaniel Mill Road, and the Hearst Road intersection. It's change order number 1 to contract 2020-69. And this is to pay for the items that have overrun and new pay items necessary to continue construction. It's an additional $127,698.52. And there's a 548 calendar days from notice to proceed. It's submitted for ratification. Director Moretto is also on this meeting tonight, should you have any questions.
All right, thank you, Director Rutledge. Commissioner Washington, any questions or concerns on this one?
No, just making sure it's saying that it's coming out of our SPLOST funding. So this is a SPLOST funded allocation, correct?
Yes, that's correct.
Commissioner Williams, any questions or concerns on this one?
No concerns. I'm just wondering if Director Moretto can give us an update on what the progress of this project.
Absolutely. Director Moretto, welcome back.
Thank you very much, Chairman. Hello there, Commissioners. Good evening.
Hello.
This project has had several delays, and that's what this change order is basically regarding. We have hit several natural water springs in the area, which has held us back a little bit. This, of course, it is Rockdale County, which means rock, which also means concentrated water. However, with the help of Pittman Construction and our CEI, we have helped to recover that. So we are on track. If you notice, there's a lot of grading that's ongoing out there. The intersection, which includes the roundabout approximately 600 feet south of the always stop, is going nicely. We do have some utility delays. So I would say that overall we're around a month or a month and a half behind, but we hope to make that up.
So what's the projected completion date?
So you're looking, it's a 548 day. We've been working approximately 7-8 months. So you're still looking at another year, a year and a half.
All right. All right. Thank you, Director Moretto. Thank you, Commissioner Williams. And I think some of the citizens who are watching too, Director Moretto was also wanted to know some of those same answers to those questions. So that was a great update, and we'll continue to give the citizens of Rockdale more update as we move forward. I do appreciate you pointing out about the rock and all the unexpected stuff that we have here in Rockdale County all throughout. Anytime we dig and start doing any major construction, there's always so many levels of uncertainties. So thank you again, and glad to have you back. So, Director Rutledge, next item, please.
The next item is 2021-118. This is with Brooks, Berry, Haney and Associates Incorporated through the Transportation Department. This is for the high mast lighting at I-20 at Sigmund Road and I-20 at Salem Road. This is change order number 1 to contract 2020-44. It's to extend the term through September 30th, 2021.
Commissioners, I want to start with Director Moretto on this one because I think this one is so exciting. The other one is exciting as well. We've got a lot of feedback about the roundabout, but this high mast lighting has been a project that is really going to illuminate Rockdale County in so many ways. Director Moretto, Tell us about the progress of this one, and then I'm going to go to Commissioner Washington and then to Commissioner Williams.
Great. So this is not in any way a delay in this project. All this is just adding a couple extra months in case we need to be able to cross the T's and dot the I's in the future. I think you mentioned something about illumination. We will be illuminating these two intersections in the very near future. I think that I was actually talking with Miss Dickerson a little while ago, and she was asking the same question. When are we going to have a lighting ceremony? So that's, I believe, something that we need to talk about, Chairman.
Well, I'm excited, and I have to give hats off to former State Representative Pam Dickerson, who was intimately involved with this project from the very beginning, and she's continuing to track it even as a regular citizen. She's keeping up with what's going on in Rockdale County, and we appreciate that. Let's talk about it, and let's get the commissioners involved. Let's invite Ms. Dickerson as one of our citizens. And I know she'd be glad to be a part of that lighting ceremony. Commissioner Washington, what are your concerns? Any concerns or comments about the high mast lighting?
No concerns. You took the words out of my mouth when you congratulated former State Representative Pam Dickerson on this project. She was not just instrumental, she's the reason why this has come to fruition the way it has done an outstanding job in making sure that we've gotten the things that we needed. And I remember when this started, and it's amazing how long things take, but it's here and I'm excited about it. So I can't wait for the lighting ceremony either.
Welcome to government. Absolutely. There is a process. Commissioner Williams.
So we are thinking that this project will be completely finished by the end of September. Is that right?
It will be finished before that. That will only be the paperwork. We're going to have lights on sometime within the next couple months at both interchanges. This past weekend we did have some traffic control, and all of the mast arms are up right now. They're all in place. They're all installed. This is the star project of RDOT at this time right now.
Oh, wow.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Director Moretto. And I'll tell you, we are excited about this project, commissioners, because as people travel both westbound and eastbound on I-20 coming into Rockdale County and leaving Rockdale County, they will certainly know they are in Rockdale County. Director Rutledge, the next one, please.
Yes, item 221-119 is with the United States Department of the Interior through the U.S. Geological Survey. This is for the Stormwater Management Department. It's for the hydrologic monitoring by the USGS services as well, in the amount of $32,400. The term is January 1st, 2021 through December 31st, 2021.
All right, thank you. Commissioner Washington, any questions or concerns on this item?
No, sir.
All right, very good. Commissioner Williams.
No.
All right, Director Rutledge, next item, please.
Right, item 2021-120 is with ESG Operations Incorporated through the Water Resources Department. This is for the operations, maintenance, and management services. It's change order number 14 to contract 2011-96. It's in the amount of $9,760,780. And this is for February 1st, 2021 through December 31st, 2021, with option to renew 2 12-month periods.
All right, Commissioner Washington, any questions or comments on this one?
I would just like to thank Director Bogan for all the hard work that he did on this contract, making sure that we were very well represented. And I'm looking forward to continuing our relationship with ESG.
Fantastic. Commissioner Williams.
As I recall, we already approved payment for January. And so this contract goes February to the end of the year. And I too appreciate the work that ESG does and their continuing relationship with Rockdale County.
Outstanding. Thank you so much. Director Rutledge, next item, please.
Next item is 2021-121. This is with United Consulting for Water Resources Department. This is for the Fieldstone Pump Station elimination in the amount of $11,160, and it will take 60 days.
Commissioner Washington, any comments or concerns on this item?
No, sir.
Commissioner Williams?
No, I don't, other than, well, I do. Okay, so it's interesting to me that United Consulting it deals very much with environmental issues. And I just appreciate that they are working on this with our water resources to make sure that we're doing the best things possible for Rockdale County.
All right, very good. We've had a long-standing relationship with United Consulting for a number of years. We've done a great job working with Rockdale County, and I echo the sentiments of you and Commissioner Washington. Next item, please.
Yes, item 122 is also with United Consultant through the Water Resources Department. And this is for the River Street Northeast water main replacement in the amount of $16,500.
This is great news for the River Street area, Millstead. Let me tell you, this one is a long time coming. Director Bogan, by the way, Commissioner Washington, has also been intimately involved with this one. We've had so many folks, so many issues, I might say, over in the Millstead community. This is a huge leap into the right direction. I yield to Commissioner Washington. Any comments on this one?
You know, the Millstead community is across the street from me. So anytime that we can help and do something to improve that area, I am always pleased. And once again, I know that Director Bogan did an outstanding job with this contract. So I appreciate his hard work.
Commissioner Williams.
No comments. Just
All right.
good work.
Thank you. Next item, please.
2021-123 is a requisition with the RDOT department. This is for KCI Technologies and is to provide geotechnical and pavement evaluation. This is SPLAST funded and is $400,000.
Commissioner Washington, any comments or questions or concerns on this one?
So, you know, I don't know what geotechnical payments means. You know, I'm used to just writing a check or sending something through Cash App. So what does geotechnical, what are geotechnical payments?
Director Moretto, you about to come
Oh,
out
he's
with-
ready. Look at him. He's ready. He's just waiting to answer that one.
Go right ahead, Director Moretto.
So I'm very excited about this item. This is for pavement and geotechnical work where we take actual coring samples of the pavement that we're going to improve. This is for the next SPLOST 4A roadway rehabilitation. You know, we are looking at improving 116 road segments throughout the county, which includes 32 miles of roadway. But the first step to doing that is to knowing what kind of conditions you currently have. The pavement probably failed for a reason. And what this does, this geotech and these pavement evaluations, they determine what the reason was and help to fix that.
I got you.
Wow. There you go, Commissioner Washington. Commissioner Williams.
Thank you for that explanation.
All right, very good. Director Rutledge, next item, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Item 2021-124 is with George Diaz, Director of Public Relations. It's a severance agreement and general release for 6 months lump payment, some payment, and is submitted for ratification.
Commissioner Washington, I'll start with you.
I have no comments.
Commissioner Williams, I'll go to you.
I don't have any comments either.
Very good. I do have some comments on this one simply because I've received several emails even this evening and inquiries from citizens, and I've had a few questions from some of our employees. We have it on the agenda tonight during this work session for ratification. Now, we're not to vote until next Tuesday. Is that correct, Director Rutledge?
Yes, March 23rd. Yes.
Okay, but what I'm understanding, Commissioner Washington, Commissioner Williams, and perhaps maybe is the county attorney on this call on this meeting tonight? Mr. County Attorney, are you there?
Yes, sir.
Okay, very
I
good.
am here. Can you hear me?
I hear you and I see you. See you loud and clear. So I guess what I'm looking for some clarity, because we've got several inquiries, even this evening, about this particular item. It is on the agenda for the work session this evening and to be voted on next week. But I understand that internally, Mr. Diaz has already been paid and received payment already, yet it's on there for discussion tonight and to be voted on next Tuesday. Help me bring some clarity to this. There's a lot of people watching, and I think there's nobody that can better clear this up than you, the county attorney.
All right, Chairman, this is apparently on the agenda tonight during a work session. However, following the emails and directives of the board, it is really being presented for ratification. It's a matter that's already been considered independently. It's a matter that's already been directed to staff, and staff has complied with the directive of the majority of the board with respect to this. So really it's there for formality and perhaps discussion if you want to discuss this, but it's really not there. It's there for a technical vote next week as a ratification.
Well, the concern I have, and we are discussing it right now, that's why I'm talking about, both Commissioner Washington and Commissioner Williams decided they didn't need to discuss it. I'm discussing it because my understanding has always been clear that when we talk about a severance is not paid to an employee who quits their job. That action is not given to someone, it's not honored to someone who walks away. In fact, Mr. Diaz, as you know, Mr. Attorney, submitted a resignation and quit his job abruptly and said to the chief of staff that it was effective immediately, and he turned in and walked out. Nowhere in Rockdale County, nowhere in the state of Georgia, I struggle to find places throughout America where an employee walks in and tells their employer that they quit, and then we turn around, or someone turns around and reward them with the severance. And this is the tune of 6 months of severance. In fact, he's already received a check for the amount of $31,155.90. He has earned $4,991.27 in PTO, paid time off. But the severance in the amount of $31,155.90 has been already awarded to someone. Now, the process that we have internally, that's the concern of mine, is on the agenda tonight during the work session, and we're to make a vote on it next. I don't know how, for the people, what are we voting on next week? Because a decision has clearly been made. I was calling on you because certainly from the council of you as chief mediator and counsel for this board, there had to be some type of guidance regarding this step, and I was looking for some response in that manner.
I understand, and really my role here, Chairman, respectfully, isn't as mediator, it's as lawyer. From a legal perspective, ratification is the tool that's used to make a decision that doesn't come formally through the board, except really to spread upon the minutes at a later time. As you well know, this process has been used in past for other directors. There was a chief of staff in a prior administration, a HR director in a prior administration, both of whom submitted resignations, both of whom received severances. I think it was contrary to your voter preference at that time, but nonetheless, they had 2 votes and it moved forward. Similarly here, there are 2 votes that will come at a future date certain to be spread upon the minutes. And from a lawful perspective, this is the way to do it, through a ratification. Now, I don't have passion or prejudice when it comes to this decision. I'm not the politician. I'm not the one who makes the vote. I'm here to give you legal authority and not to mediate. Mediation goes through your chief of staff, Chairman.
I appreciate that. I'm not going to put this on the back of the burden of my brand new chief of staff. I think you did a great job right then articulating your position. The rest and the burden of this is on the shoulders of Post 1 Commissioner Washington and Post 2 Commissioner Dr. Doreen Williams. I just want to make it plain and clear, since tonight is here for discussion, I'm discussing it. Next week, there's going to be a vote. Well, I want to go ahead and tell Rockdale County, I'm already voting against this. This is not something that I can support. First of all, it's a slap in the face, number one, to the taxpayers and the citizens of Rockdale County. Number two, to all of the employees, 999 other employees who was watching this broadcast, and some of them are participating in this very broadcast. It's a slap in their face and setting a precedence on behalf of the county. These inconsistent practices is something I cannot and will not support. On the 23rd of this month, we will be taking official action, making an official vote. However,
Okay.
I've already stated what my position is. I am not supporting this. I don't know where tomorrow someone can walk into their boss's office and tell them, hey, I'm out, I quit, and then the boss turn around and pay them a severance. There are areas where severance is applicable and it makes sense. This is not one of those.
So I'm prepared to speak at this point because, you know, if I may, Chair, whenever you're ready.
Well, I tell you what I'm going to do, Commissioner Washington, because you've already refused your right to speak. But I tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to yield to you because I am interested, as well as the citizens of Rockdale County, to hear from the commissioner that's an attorney on this board. Go ahead, Commissioner Esquire Washington.
So I'm glad you did refer to me as an attorney on this board in this regard, Chair. You know, I had the misfortune of being brought a recording that Mr. Diaz had with a conversation with you.
Yeah, you probably, let me help you out.
Hold on, because you yielded. You yielded.
Did receive a recording of me chewing out Director Diaz.
But it wasn't just, it wasn't.
Probably did. In fact, if he recorded me, it was out of order, and any recording of me without my knowledge is against the law, Esquire.
No, sir. Any recording, the law is that in Georgia, only one person has to know that the recording is being made. And that recording, I will give you my 3 Ds. It was disgusting, it was demoralizing, it was degrading, not only to him, but to us as board members. And it was a recording that if I had to defend, there was no defense for it in the manner of creating a hostile work environment.
Well, I've got another D to add to that. I got a D to add to it. I've got one other D, and that D is that it was damn sure needed at a director level, on that level, for me to
so
it was in response from the day-to-day manager.
It was in response to your request that he give you a list of things that he needed to make his operation run more smoothly. And one of the things he asked for was consideration for a raise similar to the one that you had just given 3 other people. And the vileness and the disgusting manner in which you spoke to that gentleman was incomprehensible. I can't believe that he made it beyond that meeting without turning in his resignation. I was embarrassed and disgusted when I heard the recording. And so I believe that a severance is in order, because in this, when whoever does an open records request, we have asked that he give up any right that he may have to come back and sue us for a hostile work environment. Now, I was not going to put all this on the record, but you asked why we would pay him $31,000. We would have paid more than that in attorney's fees once he filed the lawsuit. So we figured that this would be a great way to cut our losses, him to move on and we to move on, and we protect this county. So that is why we have entertained this severance.
Okay,
and
well,
I'm done.
Okay, well, let me say this, Commissioner Washington. Thank you for your rebuttal, and this is what work session is all about. Thank you for your comments, and I will tell you, as I stated, you gave 3 Ds, and the D that I have, that the chewing out that Director Jorge Diaz received from the day-to-day manager, the county administrator, the chairman and the CEO of the county, who holds every employee that reports to me accountable. That's not the duty and the task of post 1 or post 2. If you received what I received from him, then you would have known that the chewing out that he received was warranted.
Sir, I also received a copy of, wait a minute, hold on. I received a copy of the letter that he received, that he gave you. He gave me a copy of the letter that he forwarded to you, and he provided me with the recording of your response to that letter. And in several instances, you referred to that particular letter and that part. Not only were you degrading to him, but you made several degrading references to us in your comments to him. And so, you know, you talk about us having a great relationship, us repairing whatever relationship we have, but then when we're not there, you go and make certain comments and we're still put on the defensive or at any given time. So your chair, this severance package, like I said, was merely to avoid the expensive litigation. And I believe that he would have, my legal opinion is that he would have been successful with creating a hostile work environment lawsuit had he brought it. And so, like I said, for the amount of his severance, we came out ahead. And I do believe that that was in the best interest of Rockdale County's taxpayers, especially since you've given $21,000 in raises to 3 employees, and we gave 1 employee a severance for much less than any of the attorney's fees that we would have accrued in this matter.
Thank you, Commissioner Washington. Thank you so much. Let me just move on, and by saying this, my decisions on a day-to-day basis as the chief operating officer here in Rockdale County, as the CEO, is not to make sympathetic decisions and emotional decisions just because there's an employee that got angry, disgruntled, pissed off, or upset, particularly at the executive level of a director. That person doesn't have the liberty of having a PIP, what is known as a performance improvement plan. There's coaching, there's training, and all of those things involved. I want to remind you that Director Diaz quit. He was not fired. He quit his job. He was not fired. Because he quit, he realized that he has some other responsibilities and obligations. That's not the responsibility and obligation of Rockdale County for someone who tossed the keys to their boss and tell them that they're going to walk out the door and quit their job, for us to turn around with emotions and sympathy and pay them a severance. I still think about the taxpayers, and I still think about all of the directors and all of the employees in Rockdale County. Yes, on the level that they work on as a director, I hold them to the highest level of accountability. You're absolutely right. At any given time, any director can come into my space and be summoned to my office if they're doing something out of order or inappropriate. And guess what's going to happen? They will be held accountable. That accountability may include getting the chewing out. So just because I may have hurt his feelings or chewed him out, it doesn't mean that he got fired, and it doesn't mean or warrant that the Board of Commissioners supposed to give him a severance. I'm just saying what I'm saying here. You made the decision along with Commissioner Williams. You all are going to make a vote next week. I've stated what my position is. I don't think that just because you get chewed out by your boss and you don't get fired when you should have been fired, you decide that you're earning a severance. So I'm clear. Your actions are clear. Every time an employee doesn't seem happy with what the chairman is doing, they don't have the liberty of running to the post 1 and the post 2 commissioner, who is not responsible for day-to-day operations and day-to-day management. Every time one of my directors have to reprimand one of their employees, and if I circumvent those directors by warm and fuzzy responses and sympathetic emotional responses to that employee, what am I saying and what message am I sending to the director who runs the department? That's the kind of leadership, chain of command, protocol, and procedure that we have to govern ourselves by. And as stewards of the taxpayers' money, we can't just give away severances just because someone got upset or because someone have emotions. You doggone right. I chewed him out. And I'm willing to say yes to every single thing that I said on whatever recording he might have. That's fine. In fact, his recording went off while he was sitting here in my office. He should have been fired then, but I didn't fire him. 5 days later, he submitted his recommendation for resignation. I'm moving on. Next item, Director Rutledge, I'm moving on. Enough been said on this. The people of Rockdale County, they've seen and heard from Commissioner Washington and Commissioner Williams on this subject. I'll leave it up to the people of this county to make a decision. I tell you this, I'm going to continue to hold every employee that reports to this chairman accountable for their actions on a day-to-day basis. And if somebody gets chewed out, they get chewed out. We have procedures for a hostile work environment over at Human Resources. That would have been the first step. That step was not taken. He resigned, therefore he doesn't get a severance. But this board has made the decision to go ahead and pay him. So next item, please.
Okay, thank you. Next item is 2021-125, and this is with Crown Castle. It's through the EMA 911 department. It's change order number 19 to contract 2007-46. It's a consent letter. It's for equipment modification at the Smyrna Road Tower.
All right, I'll start with Commissioner Washington. Commissioner Washington, any comments on this one? Commissioner Washington, I think you're muted.
That's unfortunate because I said a whole lot, but I have no comments.
Commissioner Williams.
I'm just wondering exactly what the equipment modification is.
Director Rutledge, I can answer that. This is Director Morgan.
Thank you.
Thank you. This is a longstanding contract with Crown Castle and their subsidiary Pinnacle Towers. They operate and maintain our 2 main radio towers, and on those are different cell phone carriers who have their own private equipment, and they pay essentially rental on those spaces. And so when they have to change out their own antennas or ground equipment or rectifiers or anything like that, they have to get permission to climb the tower, since our public safety items are on there. And per the contract, every time they do that, they have to get permission from us to let us know that they are doing it. This is a no-cost change order, and it's part of the consent letter, which is like paragraph 7 of this longstanding contract.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Director Morgan. Next item, please.
Yes, item 2021-126 is with FEMA, and this through the EMA department. And this is for the grant for emergency protective measures due to COVID-19 pandemic. It's March 13, 2020, in the amount of $126,761.48. And the term is January 2020 through December 2020.
Well, Director Morgan, you're up again.
You're up again. I was going to say, just stay right there.
Yes, and this is the one that we have been looking for. This is the FEMA reimbursement for the 2021 Category B protective measures that we captured all the receipts for and turned them in. And of the eligible expenses, they have granted us $126,000 and some change in reimbursable expenses. And that is what we are due.
All right, very good. Commissioner Washington, any comments on this one for Director Morgan?
I have a quick question. Does this include the reimbursement for, this is just good? So this isn't all of the money that the sheriff had to use for overtime and hazard pay and things like that, or any of the other personnel that had hazard pay? This is just for the goods that were used. Is that correct?
No, this is actually the broad category of protective measures, where numerous things were submitted, and then the federal government went through and determined what was eligible for reimbursement and what was not. So finance is, in fact, Chief of Staff may want to jump in here. We are still reviewing to see what items they allowed and what items they did not allow.
Yes,
And
ma'am.
that was that all of the constitutional officers, anybody that submitted receipts?
To my understanding, that this was everything that finance gathered and then submitted in a single package for the time period that FEMA was allowing up through December of 2020.
And this is separate and apart from what we submitted for the COVID funding? For COVID reimbursement?
That this is not the CARES Act money. Is that
I mean,
correct?
I'm sorry, CARES Act money.
Yes,
So.
that was what we got earlier.
I understand that, but we didn't use any of the same receipts or anything for FEMA that we did for the CARES Act funding? I'm asking that question.
To be honest with you, I would have to check with finance to see what categories each one of those submissions were. But this, in category B, it's actually labeled protective measures. And when we first submitted them, it was a wide range of measures. And then once they got them all in, the federal government decided what was eligible and what was not just for us, but for broad categories across the nation.
So there may be a duplicate that if somebody turned in a receipt under this FEMA funding, then they may be eligible for their reimbursement from what we received from the CARES Act funding. Is that correct?
Commissioner, if I may, Deputy Director Vaughn, if you'll chime in based on your involvement in the submissions from last year and provide any input, and then I'll chime back in. Deputy Director Vaughn, you're on mute.
Okay, yes, sir. The CARES Act money, from last year, was only personnel, from Sheriff's Office personnel. The FEMA reimbursement is for goods.
So the CARES Act, and make sure that I need to make sure that we're very explicit, because the CARES Act funding, that the $3.9 million only went to the Sheriff's Office for reimbursement for personnel. Is that what you're saying?
Well, we used his, one of the allowable expenses for reimbursement was public safety personnel costs. So that's what we used, submitted to the CARES Act to receive the money.
But I don't believe the sheriff ever received those funds.
Right,
Those funds
and
must
that's
have gone back into general fund instead of back to where they belonged.
right. I've had, I don't know about Commissioner Williams, but I've had a very lengthy and detailed conversation with the sheriff, who is
I did
concerned
too.
about not being reimbursed the money that he expended, that he was expecting to get back from CARES Act funding. And I would like for us to look into that, and for us to make sure that if we used his personnel and his numbers to receive the $3.9 million, then we owe him a reimbursement of that money from our CARES Act funding. Yes, sir.
Commissioners, if I may, what I will do is get with our finance department. I'll also get with our financial consultants from Terminus, and I'll get the answers to you that you need and provide those to you as soon as possible.
Well, I would like to be CC'd on that, but I think the answers go to the sheriff, because he's the one that but for the sheriff not doing what he was supposed to do, we would have lost $3.9 million because of the fact that the day-to-day operations of this county did not understand the procedure for the CARES Act funding. So I would, I think that the sheriff, if those are the numbers that we use, then he deserves an explanation, and I would like to know the answers, but the money goes to the sheriff, should go to the sheriff.
Understood, commissioners. I will work with the finance team and find out what took place last year, and I'll get those answers to you and also to the sheriff.
Also, with the FEMA money, I know that other constitutional officers like the tax commissioner, the probate court, the clerk of court, all of those people submitted money or expenditures. Are we going to reallocate those expenditures to those people so that they can be reimbursed for the expenditures that they had out of pocket?
So Commissioner Washington, as a part of the review and assessment, what I intend to do is, in my review with the finance department, is find out from the federal government what actual expenses we are being reimbursed for. And when I say we, I mean everyone, inclusive
The county as a whole.
Departments and the elected offices. What essentially I want to do is have the finance department provide us with an assessment of what we submitted for reimbursement and what we actually got reimbursed for. And then I will make that available to both commissioners and also, or all three commissioners rather, and also to the elected officials that are inquiring.
And I will say that, you know, we've been allocated a great deal more money for this next round of funding. And I'm very disappointed in the way in which we handled this first round of funding. I have already stated that I want for us to hire a consultant or someone that is familiar with all of the rules and regulations that can handle us making sure that everybody that is supposed to get paid gets paid, that they know the deadlines, that knows exactly what we're supposed to do on the deadlines, and can come up with a way in which we can transparently allocate these funds so that the citizens can also have some relief from this devastating pandemic. So that I'm putting that on the record, that I'm asking that we have some help, because it was almost a disaster. And like I said, but for the sheriff, we would have lost $3.9 million. And I just think that we can do better, and our citizens deserve better.
Commissioner, as we've discussed in previous conversations, we are moving forward in that direction. Your concerns have been noted, and I've communicated those to the full board and also to our staff. As we move forward, everything will take place in a different manner as we move forward with this new funds, or these new funds that have been allocated. One main difference is the new funds do not require any reimbursements, as the coronavirus relief funds did last year. So there's different circumstances this year. And once Director Rutledge and I have basically reviewed every aspect of the law, we will provide an update to the commissioners. I mean, the law was just signed last Thursday. So we do intend, the directive from the chairman is that not one penny is supposed to be touched on any funding that is received here in the next 60 days. Just for the record, we have not received any funds yet. As a matter of fact, the federal government can't even tell us the exact dollar amount. Furthermore, the U.S. Treasury has not even given guidelines yet, enhanced guidelines, as it relates to what the funding can be used for. But the directive from the chairman and also from both Madam Commissioners is that the full board will make decisions on allocation of funds, and the staff is very clear on that directive from all three commissioners. So that's how we'll proceed.
Thank you. Thank you, Chief Cade. Thank you so much. And thank you, Commissioner Washington, for your concerns and inquiries as well. I don't want to give anybody in county government or any of our county partners any false hope or misinformation about how all of this works. I think we have to think about all of our employees, when you think about this pandemic, everyone, whether they wear a gun or badge, or whether they do some other type of task throughout the county, was on the front lines, and everybody was working during this very hazardous time during this pandemic. I think following the rules and making sure that as we move forward with this second round, I'm so glad Chief K pointed out that we don't have any money yet. And right now, the board is to develop a plan. Put your thoughts together, Commissioner Washington. Put your thoughts together, Commissioner Williams. Develop a plan. The money is coming. Have the plan ready. And I think with the leadership of Deputy Director Vaughn, our financial advisors, Mr. David Corbin and Matt Underwood, along with our chief of staff and well-capable people that we have already on board, we can move in the right direction and make sure that things are done the right way. But it's still going to start with a plan coming from the Board of Commissioners. Next item, please.
Yes, item 2021-127 is with IXOM Water Care Incorporated. This is through the Water Resources Department. This is for the PAMS water selector rental in the amount of $1,985 per month for 12 months.
Commissioner Washington, any comments on this one?
No, sir.
Commissioner Williams?
No.
Thank you, Director Rutledge. Next item, please.
Item 2021-128 is Invoice Cloud. This is through Planning and Development Department. This is for payment processing and enhanced payment service options. It's this change order number 1 to contract 2020-147. This is to add Planning and Development Department to existing contract in the amount of $1,150. It is for 3 years and then auto renews for 3 years.
Commissioner Washington, any comments on this one?
No, sir.
Commissioner Williams?
So does this allow people who are submitting plans and so forth, is this to allow them to be able to make payment online?
So Director Johnston, are you there?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Yes, Commissioner Williams, this will allow them to make virtual payments through a portal. Right now, they're making payments with checks or cards in person. So they can make virtual or remote payments now through this portal once this, if this is approved.
Thank you, Director Johnson.
And so will there be an additional like 3% charge for them to use this, or will it just be at cost?
There is an additional percent of 3%. I think we will have to actually
Charge.
adjust that to compensate for that. So it's not at cost. So every swipe, it'll be passed on to the applicant though. So.
Okay.
All right, thank you, Director Johnson. Next item, please.
Yes, item 2021-129 is with ProFence LLC. This is for the General Services Department. It's a unit price on-call fencing for various county projects. This is for 1 year with option to renew 2 additional 1-year periods.
Commissioner Washington, any comments on this one?
No, sir.
Commissioner Williams?
No.
While we're on the subject of fencing, I think both commissioners, you probably received an email that I sent to Director Rutledge that we copied the mayor on. We copied all of our state delegation and Georgia Department of Transportation, and about that unsightly eyesore fence that's running both eastbound and westbound on I-20, making Rockdale County from Salem Road to Sigmund Road look terrible and awful. So we're asking for our state delegation. We actually sent a real live video of raw footage showing them exactly what this county looks like along the I-20 corridor between Sigmund and Salem Road. So the mayor and I have sent several letters already in previous years. This time we're getting the help from the Chamber of Commerce, our state lobbyists, our state delegation. We sent this video straight to the Georgia Department of Transportation concerning that eyesore of fencing, poor fencing there on I-20, both eastbound and westbound. I just wanted to make mention of that because we start to get more and more. And what happens with these change of seasons, of course, when it's the fall and the wintertime, the leaves scale back and you begin to see all of this trash and debris, and it just really paints a very negative picture of Rockdale County. In addition to that, our community improvement, and I'm telling you, Corey Brown is just a superstar employee, along with our code enforcement. They're working tirelessly out there to try to deal with the issue. Rockdale County, we're turning the light on littering in this county, littering in this community. We're about to really turn the volume up in a whole different kind of way. I've been working with Director Moretto and his team, really going to combat. But I wanted to make mention about the fence, Commissioner Washington, Commissioner Williams, because we are now having to get the full attention of all of our state delegates, as well as our state lobbyists, to help champion this cause with the Georgia Department of Transportation to replace, not repair, replace that unsightly fencing there on I-20. Just wanted to point that out. Next item.
Well, I'm glad to hear that, because as I was coming back into town, there is a piece that did get replaced a year or two ago, and it looks really nice, but that other side looks really horrible.
Well,
so I'm glad to hear that that's moving forward.
Right. Yes, ma'am. You're absolutely right. In fact, the part along Irish Drive at McDaniel Mill Road, they actually replaced it twice. And due to 2 automobile accidents coming out of McDaniel Mill Road, they crashed into that brand new fencing on 2 occasions. Then they've come back and replaced it again. But on both sides, the Dogwood side, as well as the Irish Drive side, eastbound and westbound, there are several areas. And when you get down there towards the shopping plaza within the city limits near Belk's and Kohl's and Applebee's and the Walmart area, it is really an awful sight and a poor representation and reflection of this community. We need the Georgia Department of Transportation. We need those folks to give us the help that we need to get this thing not repaired, but replaced. Thank you so much. Next item, please.
Thank you. Item 2021-130 is with Wendy Gustafaro. This is to the juvenile court. This is for family treatment court program evaluation in the amount of $7,000. The term is April 1st, 2021 through December 31st, 2021.
And I understand that is grant funded.
Yes, ma'am, it is grant funded.
Commissioner Washington, anything on this one?
No, sir.
All right, next item, please.
Item 2021-131 is a requisition for the Transportation Department. This is for Atlas Technical Consultants LLC. It's for CEI services for SPLOST 3A. It's change order to purchase order. Let's see, the original PO amount, sorry about that. The original PO amount is $151,559.78. It's an additional $35,000 to the original PO.
Commissioner Washington, any comments on that item?
No, sir.
Commissioner Williams?
No.
All right, next item, please.
The next item is 2021-132. It's a requisition through the EMA department for Allen Visual Ford for 2 Ford Explorers 2021 in the amount of $61,488.
Commissioner Washington, any comments or questions on this item?
No, sir.
Commissioner Williams?
Well, you know, I had no idea that EMA was borrowing cars from the fire department, which needs cars itself. So, I think this is a good move to get our EMA established and situated in such a way that they can return those cars to the fire department. I see Chief Mack smiling.
Yeah, good.
I'm sure she is, and you're absolutely right, Commissioner Williams. We've never learned just how important EMA is to Rockdale County until 2020, I'm telling you. And they continue to be, as he's been out here tonight, on several items as relate to this particular agenda this evening. But EMA will continue to be the forefront, a part of the forefront of Rockdale County moving forward. I think it was a very smart move on behalf of this board to separate the fire department and EMA so that they can focus on doing the standalone recovery operation that EMA does so well. And absolutely right. You got to have the tools and the resources to do it, and we can't be pulling from one department to go to the other. Absolutely. All right, next item, please.
So the next item is item 2021-133. This is an expenditure request through the City of Conyers and the Board of Commissioners. This is for the 2021 fireworks show for July 3rd, 2021, in the amount of $22,800 is submitted for ratification.
Red, white, and boom. That's right. We've all been cooped up in 2020, and we're ready to get out. July 3rd, not July 4th, but July 3rd, Rockdale County and the City of Conyers will be celebrating our red, white, and boom. Chief K, tell us about this one.
Okay, so thank you, Mr. Chairman. This is in conjunction with the City of Conyers. This will be a Red, White, and Boom event that will be held in Old Town Conyers on Saturday, July 3rd. This event will take place from 6 p.m. to 10 p.m. However, I believe the city will have the roadways shut down in Old Town beyond or earlier than 6 p.m. But essentially, this is our contribution to the City of Conyers to have a spectacular fireworks show. So we're hoping and praying for great weather. Obviously, it'll be hot because it's Georgia in July, but hopefully we got clear blue skies, at least in the beginning before it gets dark. And there'll be a lot of other festivities. If anybody has any questions about the events for kids or anything along those lines, please contact the Conyers Welcome Center. They will be happy to answer any questions with regard to vendors that are set up for this event. But it should be a spectacular event. Rockdale Fire will be present to supervise the fireworks operations and the company that are putting on the fireworks. So it'll be a very safe environment. So we encourage the community to participate.
Thank you, Chief Cave. And I encourage all of Rockdale County to get out of the house and come out. Put your mask on, mask up, but show up. Absolutely. Right, and boom.
You know, one of the things that I remember being super impressed about when we did it 2 years ago was that because it covered so many blocks, you were not crammed or crowded.
Yeah.
So, you know, with a mask on, there should be no trouble social distancing or being safe in any way. And it was fun. And the fireworks were phenomenal. And they had music on 3 different stages. And you could just wander all over town. It was great.
You're absolutely right. We're looking forward to it. July 3rd, red, white, and boom. Next item, please.
Okay, the next item is 2021-134. It's surplus of equipment for the Sheriff's Office, Fire and Rescue Department, EMA Department, and Water Resources.
Commissioners, any questions, concerns on these surplus of equipment, these items coming from these departments?
No.
Commissioner Washington?
No, sir.
All right, next item, please.
Next item is 2021-135. It is a list of alcoholic beverage license requests.
Anything on the alcohol beverage license request, Commissioner Washington?
I would be hard pressed to question anybody's request for alcoholic beverage license. So no, I have no questions or comments in that regard.
All right. So I guess the way you're rocking says that you're in support of it, huh? Is that right?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Williams, any comments on this one? Commissioner Williams?
I have no comments.
Okay, we'll keep you in the safe zone. Next item, please.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, item 2021-136 is the appointment of Terrence Simpkins as the Director of the Stormwater Department.
Commissioner Washington, any comments on Mr. Simpkins?
Well, when he was previously, when he was first introduced to us via his references, I saw that he is a proud graduate of South Carolina State University. And so, of course, several of my good friends are alumnus of South Carolina State. And when I tell you, when I mentioned his name to them, the reviews came back so glowing that I can't wait to see what he's going to do here and what and the impact that he's going to make in Rockdale County. His qualifications are stellar, but the remarks that are coming from my people that do know him, I'm excited to meet him.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Williams.
Well, and as I was thinking about him, his resume is impeccable. The experience he has is fabulous. But what I really liked was Jamie's comment that he just presented himself so well, and that he was very personable and articulate. And I think those things are equally as important as what a resume looks like. So I too am excited to meet him.
All right, very good. Next item, please.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, item 2021-137 and 2021-138 both go together. The first is the future land use map amended request, and the second one is the rezoning request. And this is for the property located at 2325, 2385, and 0 Gees Mill Road and Glen Road. And this is changing for the land use portion of it from light industrial to the medium density residential future land use. And the rezoning portion of it is R1 single family residential zoning district to the RM multifamily zoning district. And we've also got Director Johnson here tonight if you have some questions.
Commissioner Washington, any questions on these two items?
I don't have any questions. I think that I may have made a lot of comments the last time we met because we did have the planning meeting at that time. What I will say about this this project is that they've done everything that we could have possibly asked for them to do. They're bringing in a high quality townhome product, but it's got green space, it's got amenities, it's got high quality construction materials, it's got parking, it's got everything that we could possibly ask for in a townhome community. I do believe that, well, I don't believe, I know that townhomes are it's not even up and coming, it is what is happening now. When you go and look at all over the major metropolitan areas, not just in Atlanta, but all over the country, more and more people are moving towards townhomes because it offers you the ability to have the space that you need without the maintenance. This particular townhome community is, the price point is excellent. The builders are working with them. They have a mandatory homeowners association. They're limiting the amount of rental units that could be in the development. The builders have done everything that we could possibly ask of them, and they've given us a quality project. This was one that started out with us almost vehemently rejecting the project, and they came back and did everything that we've ever asked them to give us the kind of quality community that we deserve in Rockdale County. One thing that I will say is that everybody says, well, we don't want townhomes, we want businesses, and we want nice restaurants. Well, guess what? Nice restaurants look at rooftops and they look at income, and this gives us a step in that direction because it is providing us with rooftops with a price point that now more restaurants will start looking at servicing the people that are moving into the community with a demonstrated ability to patronize their restaurants. So I would like to commend all of the people that have worked so hard. Director Johnson, you and your staff have done an outstanding job working with the developers, and the developers have done an outstanding job with having community forums and presenting this. And like I said, going back to the drawing board and reconfiguring everything that they thought that they were going to bring to this community and bringing us something that is stellar. So I'm on board with everything about this project.
Thank you, Commissioner Washington. Commissioner Williams?
Well, like Commissioner Washington, as I drive through different parts of Metro Atlanta, I unfortunately haven't been any place outside of Atlanta in a year, but as I've gone through Atlanta, I see a lot of townhome developments that are so nice. And I look at them and I think, oh, I could live there. And it's not like the townhomes of previous days. These are like she said, they are quality construction. They're made aesthetically to look really nice. They have the green space. We made sure that they had streets that were wide enough and 2-car garages. I think I'm excited because I just think we know there's a housing shortage.
Right.
And I think that this will be a good move for Rockdale County.
All right, fantastic. Well, I support, and I echo the sentiments of both Commissioner Washington and Commissioner Williams on this. I really want to say a big hats off to every employee over in the Planning and Development Department, the way they've conducted themselves. And there's been a complete turnaround in how business is conducted out of planning and development. Customer service has really gone up in a very positive way. The follow up, the follow through. And then here's the thing, Director Johnson has really taken an opportunity to teach and explain to all those newcomers in the Rockdale County from an economic development standpoint as to how to properly do business with the county. He has a relatively new staff and they're working together in concert and unison as a team to make sure they service all of those interests and requests. Then he's partnered up with Deputy Director Teresa Jacobs. So that team in itself, they're doing a fantastic job. We appreciate that because economic development is on the forefront of all of what we're doing in Rockdale County. As Commissioner Washington put it, these folks are not just counting heads in terms of people, they're looking at rooftops and how things are growing and manifesting in this county. Once we get the tax base that will support a feasibility study for all of the types of businesses, restaurants, bistros that folks would like to see in Rockdale County. Let's get the tax base here forward first that will support that. And I think the price point on this product at $275 and above certainly will attract the kind of citizen that can afford to be able to contribute in a positive way to the tax base, and then allow us, let me be clear, allow us to attract those other retail outlets and industries that people want to see in our county. So she's absolutely correct. This is a step in the right direction. And it also sets us up, commissioners, for even more folks to continue to look at Rockdale County when they see the level and the type of growth that we have. I know over off Salem Road, there's a construction underway right now, and the price point for a 1-bedroom apartment at $1,400 a month, we never would have heard of that in Rockdale County 10 years ago. So 10 years ago, we would have said $1,400 a month in Rockdale. That speaks volumes for the type of people that we're beginning to attract in this community. Young professionals, people who are looking for a different type of living versus having the traditional home setting with an acre plus yard. They want to be able to be moving freely and be able to be mobile throughout the community. So I'm excited about it as well. Director Johnson, you and your team keep up the good work. We've got more to come. I think we're just getting started, commissioners. Absolutely.
So one more comment about that is that as we bring in these professionals, we not only do we attract higher level retail, we attract businesses that are looking for those professionals because they want those professionals already in place. They want a workforce that's already there. And so, you know, by having a higher price point, we attract those who can afford it because they've got these skills and positions that companies are going to be looking for.
Absolutely, Commissioner. You're absolutely right. You're spot on. Next item, please. Wait a minute, Director Rutledge. It looks like Commissioners, we're down to the part of the agenda where is public comment. Now, Chief Cave, Director Rutledge, Ms. Owens, you guys got some different information
We
because
do.
virtual setup. Is that right?
We do. So, Mr. Chairman, if we could segue back to the work session agenda, item number 4, public comment. And each person that is signed up to speak for public comment tonight signed up ahead of time through our PR staff. So we will have them come on. They've already signed on to the disclaimer and that there's a 3-minute timer per speaker. We will have the timer running and we'll be able to hear it when it goes off. And so with that, I will turn it over to PR to start with our public comment and the people that are in the queue.
All right, very good.
You can go ahead and share. Okay, Chairman, do you want me to read the disclaimer?
Please read the disclaimer. And I think you also want to explain that this is this pre-registration is all based upon virtual meetings, and this is nothing that we're going to be doing once we go back to a real live in-person meeting. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
All right, go right ahead with the disclaimer.
All right. As a reminder, public comment is limited to 3 minutes per speaker. Comments relative to any issues that are currently going through the public hearing process, matters that are in active litigation, political campaigning, or partisan politics will not be heard in this meeting. Speakers are to address the chairman, not each other or the audience, and are expected to conduct themselves in an appropriate manner. The use of abusive or profane language shall not be allowed. No debate or argument between speakers and/or members of the audience shall be permitted. So, Mr. Chairman, the first person we have on the list tonight is Daniel Muckenfuss, and I apologize if I messed up the name there.
All right, Mr. Daniel, go right ahead.
You actually pronounced it correctly. My name is Danielle Muckenfuss, and I am actually an admin on the Helping Rockdale AC Animals page. I've fostered Rockdale dogs for several rescues since 2014. And I just have been talking to CG for years about things I would love to see at the animal control. And when I heard about the strategic plan, I was thrilled to see all of the changes and the plans that are in place. First off, thank y'all so much for the shelter expansion approval. I know that will be providing some much needed space and help us to get more animals out and about. I loved reading about the adoption application process. I feel that having an all-inclusive adoption fee will help move more dogs and cats into forever families, as well as the microchipping. I love the fundraising ideas, the Amazon wish list, the off-ground beds. And I know that that is something that will also help with providing opportunities for people to make donations and stuff. I personally hope that the animal control continues to keep their 6 o'clock out, their hours till 6, because I have been in other counties, and as someone who works till 3:15, 4 o'clock, it's hard to get somewhere to leave work and get to an animal control or get somewhere. So I feel that the time frame actually really helps those who are working. As I feel that many people support the TNR, but for me personally, I think that should be an individual decision, and that should be something that people, if they would like to do that, should be doing on their own. When I walked into the animal control in 2014, I had the same misconception. I believe that lifeline shelters should be the norm. I felt that every dog and cat should be given a chance to be adopted, and I realized that as I met the staff and I spent time with them, I realized just how much they really do care about the animals and the community that they serve. Many people have heard the quote, "A journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step," and everyone here wants to see changes for the better. To make this happen, I really feel that this plan needs to pass quickly, and I'm just hoping that you guys realize how much the animal control is near and dear to my heart, and that this plan just does get put into practice, because I do believe that it is a great opportunity for our county and our residents. Thank you guys for allowing me to talk tonight. And I did email you a longer version of my speech, but I knew I wouldn't have time to say it all. Thank you once again.
Well, you actually did good, and thank you so much. And we appreciate all that you do on behalf of the citizens and the pets and pet owners in Rockdale County. Next speaker, please.
Sir, we have a Sarah Ricks.
Ms. Rich, come right on. Ms. Sarah Ritz, are you there?
Chairman, she is here. I've asked her to unmute her mic.
Okay, we'll give her a minute. This technology can be tricky.
Yes, sir. It looks like she is here by phone. So Ms. Ricks, you might need to unmute.
Ms. Riggs, are you there?
Okay, Chairman, you want me to move on to the next one for now?
I hope that Ms. Ricks will be able to speak tonight. I'm going to call on her one more time before we go to the next one. Ms. Ricks, are you there? All right.
Okay, sir, we'll move on to Jenna Shepard. There's Siriana Reeves, but Jenna Shepard, please.
Ms. Shepard?
Yes. Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am. Go right ahead.
Okay. Mr. Chairman and Madams Commissioners, the current version of the strategic plan from the animal control reflects good progress. We have definitely moved in the right direction toward having a no-kill shelter in Rockdale County. However, I think we need one small edit. It won't slow anything down. It won't require that the strategic plan goes back to the AC. It's just one small edit that would allow clarity and reassurance. Right now, the sentence that appears directly before the key initiatives on page 3 and 33 contains slightly different wording. I urge you to reword this sentence so that it says in both places, here are the key areas of change and improvement the division will implement. With that small edit for clarity and reassurance, I believe we can move forward with increased confidence that the Animal Care Division is indeed committed clearly and unambiguously to implementing the key initiatives. With this small edit included, I will wholeheartedly support the version of the strategic plan. Thank you very much for your time and your hard work in getting this strategic plan to where it exists today. Thank you.
And thank you so much. Thank you for your contribution and support of this plan. And thank you for all that you do in Rockdale County on behalf of all of the citizens. Next speaker, please.
All right, again, calling James Doherty, please.
Dr. Doherty.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Hear you loud and clear. Go right ahead.
Okay, Mr. Chairman, Commissioners, nearly 1,000 Rockdale citizens have petitioned for or otherwise advocated on behalf of achieving life-saving status for our animal shelter. So I'm delighted to note the current version of the strategic plan reflects good progress. We seem to be moving in that direction. Congratulations. However, we have asked to achieve life-saving status, not merely strive toward it. So I do urge one small edit to provide clarity and reassurance. I need not restate that. You have it, we sent it to you. This is important for a number of reasons. Basically, the rationale is straightforward. If animal care control is unable to say with confidence that it can and will implement the initiatives it's asking you to approve, then why should citizens have confidence that this plan will get us to life-saving status? We must have at least one sentence in the plan that conveys accountability directly, clearly, and unambiguously. Either it's there directly and unmistakably stated, or it's not. Either the county's dedication to achieving life-saving status is unequivocal, or it's not. Now, there's much that could still be done to improve this plan, Mr. Chairman. But if commissioners exercise oversight responsibility to direct inclusion of this one sentence edit, I believe we at long last can sing Kumbaya and get down to work. That said, I call attention to a few initiatives that still require better sequencing. First, the matter of TNR, trap, neuter, and return with respect to homeless cats. TNR will enable the most dramatic decrease in shelter killings. There's no earthly reason to delay appointment of a subcommittee to just study this issue. It should not take up to 5 months to approve these folks. Second, the plan continues to be very vague about the duties of an interim unpaid volunteer coordinator. This job description must assign specific adoption coordinator duties to this interim person. Third, the plan largely continues to ignore our greatest resource, an able, enthusiastic cadre of citizens ready to volunteer within shelter and out of shelter tasks to free up staff time. The ambassadors group appears to serve more of a PR function than a body that develops policy, but it needs to be pointed now. In conclusion, Mr. Chairman, the plan's not everything that we'd hoped for, but it's workable if you approve this edit, and we look forward to you personally leading the singing of Kumbaya. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Donald. We certainly appreciate you've been a part of this process from the very beginning. I remember you attending the meeting on last year when we assembled in a tight space in the solution room, and we came out and walked away with solutions, and that's evident tonight. So thank you, and thank you for what you do on behalf of the citizens of Rockdale County. Next speaker, please.
All right, I'm calling on Ariane Reeves.
Ms. Reeves.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, commissioners. I think that the latest draft version of the plan is great progress in the right direction. And I want to thank the divisions for their hard work on this. And we're now up to modified version 13. So there's been a significant input from the community, and we appreciate that. I'm advocating for two small but significant changes, and one you've already heard. That's to make the sentence before the matrix on page 3 and page 33 stronger. And so my suggestion would be to reflect a definitive commitment to implement the actions as are stated in the plan. For example, it should state something very similar to here are the key areas of change and improvement the division will implement. And that's the key part is will implement versus strive to. And then I want something for consideration. It could be part of the working document, and this will be a living document, but the version that will be voted on, I would like the consideration to include SMART, which is an acronym for specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and time-bound, or SMART, objectives to accompany the key initiatives or priority areas. And this is leads to accountability, actually. That way, it will be easy for the division to answer questions from the community as to what's been accomplished and within the timelines that have been stated in the matrix. And so I'm hoping that you all will consider that. It will make the plan easier to read. It will take some work, but it's not any additional initiatives or actions. It's just stating that this is the objective that goes with the initiative, and it is a SMART objective. So I want to thank you for the opportunity to provide this input. I really look forward to a final working version in the very near future. Thanks for letting me speak.
Thank you, Ms. Reeves, and thank you for what you do on behalf of the citizens of Rockdale County. Next speaker, please.
Next speaker is Sandy Green.
Ms. Sandy Green, how are you tonight?
Hey, I am wonderful. Thank you very much for taking me, and I appreciate the opportunity to speak. I too support the edit by the Rockdale Animal Control Group, Animal Advocacy Group, and I wanted to mention for Ms. Briggs that she cannot be heard, but she wanted me to tell you she supports the edit as well. Because for some reason she can't be heard. But, and I too have noticed a vagueness in the plan. I don't know if it was intentional or it was just an oversight on the part of the people that wrote it. But we need to be very specific about we are going to do these things. We're not going to put our toe in the water. We're going to actually jump in the water. We're not going to take a bite of the sandwich. We're actually going to eat it. So don't be so vague as we have been. We don't want to pursue something. We want to implement it. We don't want to try. We want to do it. We don't want to plan we want to implement it. We don't want to strive to do something. We want to do it. However, once it's approved and it's put into place, I will certainly be one of the first people in line to volunteer and do everything I can for the pets of Rockdale County. And we as citizens will be eagerly and watching and monitoring the process as we go along. All we want the animal control to do is don't do their best, just do it. Make a commitment. Are you going to live together? Or are you going to get married? What are you going to do? Let's be very specific in what we're doing. And let's be able, I agree with Ms. Reeves on the SMART tactic. Let's have some very definite timelines and some very positive approaches to getting this done. And let's don't be vague, okay? So that's all I have to say. I think I've said enough. But thank you very much for hearing me, and I eagerly await the results so we can get started on this and get our volunteers going and do the right thing about all our animals in Rockdale County. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Green. Thank you so much. Next speaker, please.
Yes, can Shannon Miller speak now?
Shannon Miller, are you there?
I am. How are you doing, Chairman?
Doing good tonight, Ms. Miller. Good to have you.
Thank you. My name is Dr. Shannon Miller, and I've been a veterinarian in Rockdale County for 17 years. I'm the sole owner of Miller Veterinary Services, and as such, I am one of the, I am very proud to be one of the first members of the Rockdale Animal Advocacy Group. And so I'm with Jim and Jenna and Sarah and all the others. And so we definitely want firm, undeniable language in this thing that we're working on, because it's very important that accountability is met and expectations are stated. As a professional in the field, I absolutely cannot emphasize enough that TNR, trap, neuter, release, has to be an integral component of animal control for any county. And so we definitely need to up our standards and be more competitive to even the counties surrounding us. You know, feel free to offload any duties you're legally allowed to on our members. We are all a group of highly educated. Some of them are retired, some of them are full-time, but we are like the police. We are willing to help and to serve. And if there's anything that I, as a veterinarian, can do to help, I certainly am at your beck and call. We just want to save lives and know that every day we did everything we could to make a difference in these animals' lives, and also to help our citizens, because you know, at the end of the day, you know, we are one big community and we are all supposed to be there for each other. And we really, really want to emphasize that that's exactly what we're trying to do. And so I appreciate all of the work that everyone on this committee has done for this. It's a tremendous amount of work, and we're very fortunate that there are a lot of people out there who are more than happy to help us. And so if I can do anything to assist, please don't hesitate to call me. But we're all extremely proud of what's been done. Thank you very much for all your work on this. Thank you all.
Thank you, Dr. Miller. Thank you so much. Next speaker, please.
Okay, I'm not seeing them in the list, Chairman, but I have Angie Studebaker. Are you available?
Studebaker, are you there? Ms. Studebaker, are you there tonight? One more time for Ms. Studebaker. Are you there tonight? Next speaker, please.
Okay, we have a Jennifer Floyd.
Ms. Floyd, are you there?
I'm here. Can you hear me?
I hear you loud and clear, Ms. Floyd. Go right ahead.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Chairman and Commissioners. I'm also a member of the Rockdale Animal Advocacy Group. It's always a tongue twister for me. The effort put into the Rockdale County Animal Care and Control Division Strategic Plan is sincerely appreciated by me, and I know many of my fellow Rockdale County citizens. It shows that Rockdale County is on the right path to becoming a humane, no-kill county. My biggest hope for animal control is making sure the department gets the help it needs to help homeless animals and to have the chance at life and to find a loving home. I believe through utilizing volunteers and by obtaining the budget they need to better man the department and care for homeless animals, I feel like that goal will be attainable now. It is also my hope that the initiatives in the strategic plan will allow Rockdale County animal care and control to be more visible in the community. Citizens cannot help if they don't know where help is needed. Yes, we have our fair share of irresponsible pet owners, but we also have a lot of compassionate people who are ready to help if given the chance. I would also like to suggest the same edit that was previously recommended by my fellow group members, where the latest version of the strategic plan says on page 3 and I believe 32, the version I saw was of page 32, but it's the sentence right above the key initiatives. I would suggest that it reads something more along the lines of, here are the key areas of change and improvement the division will implement. It will provide confidence that the county is 100% committed to making these much needed improvements. And with that edit, I support the strategic plan 100%. I think it is a wonderfully put together plan. And I'm really glad to see how we're moving our county into the future. And that's pretty much it. I know I'm a little below my time, but I appreciate y'all giving us the chance to speak.
Ms. Floyd, thank you so much. And you're right. We're moving Rockdale right into the future.
Yeah.
So much. Absolutely. Next speaker, please.
All right, Chairman. Now we have Laura Blackburn.
Ms. Blackburn, are you there?
Hey, I'm here. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
First of all, I'm pretty much a latecomer to this issue. Apparently, it's the 13th edit, and I just learned about this from my friend the other day. And I'm a little ashamed to say that I've been fairly involved in rescue in the last several years, but have ignored my own county, and so would like to change that. But there's just two main things, and I don't know, the edits, and I really don't know the plan. I haven't read it. All I know is I want to support the no-kill shelter coming into fruition as quickly as possible. First thing I want to say is, when I was really young, I was hired as the manager of our county animal control in Tennessee. And as a vet technician, I was the one responsible for euthanizing hundreds of healthy animals. And, I wasn't as affected then, but I can tell you it will kill a part of your soul. Whoever does that at our county, they may not know that now, but they will lose a piece of themselves. And I don't wish that on anybody. And I still feel extremely guilty. And I think I still need ways to make amends for that. And maybe this can be one of them. And the second thing I want to say is that in terms of, the no-kill movement, I have a rescue now that I stepped up to just foster. She was apparently pulled right off of the euthanasia line in Cobb County by a rescue group. And this girl she was a train wreck, busted pelvis, heartworm positive. She was in heat. I'm sure any kill shelter would have just put her right in line. And this dog's my heart. She, it's like that whole who rescued who thing scenario. And if we could all just move towards the no-kill movement, there's no telling sort of who we may rescue with that. And that's really all I wanted to say.
Well, Ms. Blackburn, thank you again. Thank you. You're very passionate, as all of the members are very passionate. We certainly do appreciate your comment and your support and all that you do here in Rockdale County. Next speaker, please.
All right, Chairman, we have an Abigail Dryden.
Ms. Dryden, are you there?
Hey, can you hear me?
I hear you loud and clear, Ms. Dryden. Go right ahead.
Hey, yes. I would like to speak on behalf of the Rockdale Animal Advocacy Group. And I just simply wanted to say that I support the edit of the strategic plan that they are presenting. As I actually sit here with my two rescue babies. They came right up to me when it was time for the comment section. It's almost like they sensed it was my turn to start coming to speak for them. But all I can say is how important it is to have a no-kill shelter. And there are families and individuals out there that have the heart to love animals that need homes. And I know that we have done as much for these two girls as they have done for us and made our house just so much more loving and so much more happy. So I support the edit. Thank you for having me.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And thank you for all that you do. Next speaker, please.
Next up, we have Megan Yandel.
Ms. Yandel, are you there?
Everyone hear me?
I hear you a little bit choppy, but we hear you. Go right ahead.
Okay, very good. Thank you so much for the opportunity to speak, Chairman and the Commissioners. I fully support the recommended edits presented by the Rockdale Animal Advocacy Group this evening. What I'm not seeing is a level of accountability as shown in the revised strategic plan. I see suggestions of what may be done and ideas. I don't see concrete plans with firm dates. What we need is a firm commitment from Rockdale County to allow us to be the voice for these disregarded animals. There are existing no-kill shelters here in Georgia that have implemented successful programs that can actively save these lives of these animals. It can be accomplished and is being accomplished outside of Rockdale. There is an army of Rockdale citizens willing to make this happen. I personally have rescued every animal that I have ever been fortunate enough to welcome into my heart and my home. They are my true happiness and so valued. Stop being willing to kill them and please start implementing a plan to save them. Everyone's effort to date are very much appreciated, and we need an actionable plan to be carried out and not take years to get there. I appreciate everyone's time and attention this evening regarding this matter.
Thank you so much. Thank you for being here tonight. Next speaker, please.
Okay, now we have Deanna McCart Perez.
Ms. Perez, are you there?
Yes, good evening.
Good evening. Go right ahead.
Yes, sir. Thank you for allowing me to speak tonight. I just wish to express my support for the edit presented by the Rockdale Animal Advocacy Group, but I do prefer to see a no-kill status achieved sooner than 2024. Please help to end the euthanasia of healthy and treatable dogs and cats within our beloved community. We would like to see Rockdale as a county known for compassion and life-saving of homeless pets. And I myself, all my pets are rescues, so this is very near and dear to my heart. And I thank you for the time.
Thank you so much, and we appreciate you tonight as well. Next speaker, please.
Okay, sir, we have an Anna Marshall. She has been with us throughout the night, and for some reason, she is no longer in the queue here. But I do want to, just in case I'm missing her somewhere on the list, I would like to give her the opportunity to speak. So if Anna Marshall is available.
Miss Anna Marshall, are you there, Miss Marshall? Maybe she'll come back to us before it's all over, Sean. Next speaker, please.
Okay. All right, so now we have Cheryl Garcia.
Miss Garcia.
Sir.
Go right
Yes,
ahead.
sir.
Yes.
Can you hear me?
We hear you. We know your voice. We hear your Miss Garcia. Go right ahead.
Thank you, sir. Good evening, and thank you, Mr. Chairman and Madams Commissioners. The proposed townhouses on Old Salem Road will have a severe impact on traffic and infrastructure. Homeowners from several upscale, well-established subdivisions off of Old Salem Road already have tremendous difficulty getting to Highway 138 or I-20 all day long, every day. A few yards past these proposed townhouses on one-lane Old Salem Road, cars from two apartment complexes on Iris Drive merge onto Salem Road without stopping because there's not even a yield sign there. There used to be a yield sign at the corner of Old Salem and Salem Gate, and it's not there anymore, so they just try to run right into you. Now Salem Gate Shopping Center is in development, ultimately bringing more traffic to two-lane Old Salem Road. trying to turn onto 138 from Old Salem is a joke, with traffic blocking the entire intersection all the time. Then there's cars trying to get onto 138 from the Mattress Firm / Checkers parking lot because they come from the Irish Drive apartment buildings. Some transportation official, I don't know if it's local or state, decided to end Irish Drive in the Mattress Firm Checkers parking lot. I've never seen the street end in a commercial store's parking lot, but those people try to turn onto 138 and sometimes cross 2 lanes of traffic to go onto 20 to get to Atlanta. Lastly, our stormwater and sewer infrastructure is unable to support the current homes that we have here. It's a hot mess, and we know because we had a stormwater problem in our own yard. I ask that you please stop amending the land use plan and don't build townhouses in every nook and cranny without considering the adverse impacts on residents who already live here and on our infrastructure. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ms. Garcia, and thank you for staying on the front line here in Rockdale County and all that you do on behalf of all of the citizens. Next speaker, please.
Yes, sir. Now we have Kyle Miller.
Mr. Chairman, commissioners, and members of Rockdale County staff, my name is Kyle Miller, the commissioner of the Hotlanta Softball League, and I have the absolute privilege of leading a 550-member softball organization that utilizes Rockdale County, and more specifically Johnson Park, for our softball facility. Hotlanta Softball League, which was founded in 1981, has 2 softball seasons of play, spring and fall. In addition to our spring and fall season, the Hotlanta Softball League also conducts an annual Memorial Day tournament known as the Big Peach Softball Tournament. The Big Peach, now in its 35th year, has 64 teams already registered with plans to host at Johnson Park, with 54 of them being from all across the country. That is over 1,000 players for a 2-day tournament. Tens of thousands of dollars in revenue are spent in Rockdale County during this tournament alone, as players choose to stay at hotels and eat and drink while in the county. On top of the Big Peach tournament, HSL is considering hosting an upcoming World Series, which would bring upwards of 225 teams and well over 6 to 7 million in revenue, with total economic revenue of 12 to 14 million. Last year, because of the coronavirus outbreak, our season was cut short and we ended play. We have proactively pushed back our 2021 season, which also happens to be our 40th anniversary, to start in mid-April. The staff and team at Johnson Park have been tremendous, but unfortunately have told us that they still do not have a reopen date. Because of this, the last few months, we have worked with healthcare staff, members of the CDC, as well as facilities, to put together a very thorough and strategic return to play document, which demonstrates our commitment to player safety and returning following CDC guidelines for recreational sports. I emailed that document over to you guys, and I hope you've had a chance to review that. I'm coming here tonight to show the level of interest and commitment our 500-member organization has with Rockdale County. The revenue HSL brings to Rockdale County within a year is tremendous. I would love tonight a recommendation by commission to Director Sanders recommending Johnson Park be opened back up to HSL, not only because of the revenue aspect we bring to Rockdale County, but the commitment we have to opening up and playing softball following all of CDC guidelines for recreational sports. While having the full support of the Parks and Recreation team at Johnson Park, I would love to see your commitment and support for our organization to have a place to play for our 40th anniversary season. So thank you for your time tonight. I hope that a resolution or directive from commission gets sent over to Sue, encouraging a reopen plan by April 11th, but no later than May 1st. But whatever we need to do on our side, you have our commitment. I've already been in communication with Franklin Hamilton, Deputy Parks Director Jason Redmond, and have a mutual agreement that we will partner with them in whatever capacity is needed. We understand cutbacks in the county level due to the pandemic, but other county facilities are being utilized, such as girls softball and tennis. So we're only requesting that we're able to return to play. So thank you so much for your time tonight. I really appreciate the time tonight. Thank you.
Commissioner Miller, thank you so much. We heard all of that. I also read your email in depth. Thank you for understanding from a leadership standpoint, and certainly do appreciate your comments tonight. Next speaker, please.
Okay, now we have Larry Cox.
Mr. Cox, are you there?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I am here. Tonight, Mr. Chairman, I would like to address you and this board and just about an issue that I've addressed this board to upon several times. And the matter is actually severance pay to employees. On several times, I've addressed this board and opposed severance pays to employees because I think it sets a bad precedence. And I think the precedents we set in the past has come to bite us in the hiney today. Mr. Chairman, I oppose the severance pay to any director level employee because at best, I consider these employees temporary full-time employees. I know over the past several years that the Board of Commission has raised the pay of directors by tens of thousands of dollars and saying that this would retain employees. I think we can look at the last 2 years and we can say, even though that we have raised the pay of director level employees, we have not got the retention that I believe that this board hoped that they would get. Mr. Chairman, I also am very disturbed by what I heard tonight during the discussion of that agenda item. You know, a lot of people believe that they can come to the Board of Commission meeting when something is on an agenda and they can discuss this item and possibly sway the opinion of the commissioners. But when we come to find out that these decisions are made behind the scenes, behind closed doors, it makes the public doubt the sincerity and the honesty and the transparency of this board. Mr. Chairman, I urge in the future that we stop this giving people severance. And if it did go down the way it went with Director Diaz, and he brought a video or a recording into an office, then that sounds like extortion to me. That sounds like a threat that if I don't get something, I'm going to put something out there. Mr. Chairman, also, I would like to say, I sat at a desk and I actually have had to give people talkings to about what they've done. But also, I've been on the other end of those talking to. And when I've got them, I've deserved them. And I didn't go cry like a baby to my mama and tell her that my boss just took me to the woodshed because I had made some mistakes or not followed through on what I had agreed to do. So, folks, we've got to grow up in this county. We've got to just quit giving money away like it grows on trees. Mr. Chairman, I urge, we can't take this money back because the checks are already written and the vote was made behind closed doors. I urge that we be more transparent to the citizens of Rockdale County, cut this nonsense out, and we adopt a 5-commission board so this 3-person board will not do this 2-1 stuff anymore. And that were my comments for tonight.
Mr. Cox, thank you for your comments and thank you for all that you do on behalf of the citizens of Rockdale County. Next speaker, please.
Chairman, that is all the speakers we have for tonight.
Thank you so much, Sean. Great job, PR, for managing the virtual comment portion of public comment tonight. I'm going to move Director Rutledge, if that's okay. At this point, I think we're ready for board comment.
Yes.
I'm going to start with the Honorable Commissioner Washington.
Yes. First of all, I'm glad to be back in work session. I missed it. I missed being able to talk about things and put it on a consent agenda. So I'm glad to be back. The next thing that I would like to talk about a little bit more is the Animal Control Services Strategic Plan. Like we said before, it is a working document. It is something that is living, breathing, and able to be amended. And it has to be flexible because there are dollar amounts and dollar constraints that are attributed to certain things. We did add the verbiage that as part of the mission statement that we are going to, our mission is to become a no-kill agency. And we're trying to achieve this goal by 2024. Now, this is 2021. We're almost through the first quarter of 2021. To me, that is a very realistic, achievable goal to have a no-kill status by 2024, especially if everybody is working in tandem to do that. there's nothing that says that we can't achieve this goal before 2024. But I think that having a 2024 timeline gives us enough time to adjust, to reevaluate, to pivot if we need to. And I once again commend CG, Director Sanders, and Director Morgan for all of their hard work that they've done to make this plan something that we can be proud of. And it was well presented, and I believe that the execution is going to be impeccable also. Finally, I would like to give a CREDC update. We are still accepting applications for our executive director of the CREDC. We're expecting to have the director in place by May. One of the things that you discussed was the aesthetics on the I-20 corridor. We did have a presentation given to us by a planning and development firm to look at a corridor study and market study for the Iris Drive corridor that hopefully we can start implementing once the executive director gets in place, and that would look at the aesthetics of the entire corridor and coincide with what we're doing on the Sigmund Road corridor. So we're moving in the right direction on the CREDC board, and I'm still excited about being there, and I'm looking forward to to implementing other ideas that I have on the board. The final thing is that, of course, golf season is about to start, and please be on the lookout because I am going to start another golf clinic. And I have had so many people ask me about details about learning to play golf and the golf clinic. So you should be seeing that information very, very soon. Let's see, 1, 2, 3. And I think that's all I have.
All right, thank you, Commissioner Washington, and appreciate knowing that you're going to be having a golf club in your hand real soon. Commissioner Williams.
Oh, well, I just came. Well, I've been playing. Let me say that I just participated in a clinic, and I will say that we didn't come in last place.
All right, as long as you're swinging in the right direction, Commissioner Williams.
Good evening. The first thing I wanted to mention was that Monday evening, I'll be holding a town hall meeting at 6 p.m. It will be broadcast on Facebook Live on the county page, as well as through Channel 23 and the county website. The topic is, we've all experienced some kind of grief this year. Let's talk about resiliency. And so it was a personal topic for me. I've mentioned before that I have a new grandbaby that I haven't seen. I will say that I will meet him this week. They are coming to town. And so, I've had those small experiences of grief. Many people have had much deeper grief than mine. But I believe everybody has had grief in some way over the last year. And so I have asked these two experts, Dr. Tracy Lewis, who's has just completed doing a workshop on grief, and Dr. Deetra Hawkins, whose specialty is resiliency, among other things that she does. You will not be disappointed in the information that they share with us and the ability to help us move forward. I think some of us are even feeling a little anxious about, we've been a whole year away from the world. How do we step back in to visiting with people, seeing people that we haven't seen in a year. There's just a lot to take in with the whole COVID experience. So I invite you to attend. I too have appreciated the work session, because when we were not able to have them, we tried to talk about things in the voting session, but then when questions came up, we either had to approve something that we weren't quite sure about, or we ended up several times deferring a vote. This allows us to have the conversation, and then we know where we're headed for a voting session next week. The last thing I wanted to talk to you about is International Women's History Month, which is March. And as I was doing a little research, I learned that the National Women's History Alliance selects the theme for the year. And because last year was the 100 years of women getting the vote, and there were a lot of suffrage events that had to be canceled, they extended that theme for 2021. And the theme is Valiant Women of the Vote, refusing to be silenced. And I thought about then our local elected officials. And as I thought about them, it first came up because the school board received an award recently, the 2020 Exemplary Board, which is the highest status in the Georgia School Boards Association recognition program. And it occurred to me that 5 of that 7-member school board are women. And so we should honor them. And then I got to thinking, well, how many of our elected officials countywide are women? And so I started adding them all up, and exactly 50% of all the elected officials in Rockdale County are women, including 5 school board members, 2 of our judges, the tax commissioner, the clerk of court, 2 county commissioners, and 2 city council members. Those numbers of women have shifted in the last few years. And so women have played many roles, and being a part of the community, being a voting member of the community, and being able to serve in the community is a great honor for women. So those are my comments.
Thank you. Thank you, Commissioner Washington and Commissioner Williams. I'm going to wrap up with my closing comments tonight. I just want to take a moment and just talk just briefly about Robert's Rules of Order. I really do appreciate both of the commissioners making mention that they're glad to see the work session come back. The work session allows us to enter into dialogue and conversation about those items on the agenda that we're ultimately going to vote on. We had an opportunity on one of those items tonight to do just that, because we knew that we were having our work session starting this evening. I also want to take a point of privilege as the chairman and the manager of day-to-day operations. I've served 8 years in the post 1 commissioner position, and I understood clearly that my responsibility centered around policy making and appropriating of the budget, setting the budget in Rockdale County. As it related to day-to-day operations at that time, I had no direct authority in terms of day-to-day operation. Oftentimes, employees will be disgruntled. They will be unhappy, dissatisfied about different things that are coming out of the chairman's office, particularly those employees who report directly to the chairman. As in any organization, a school, a church, a household, or any organization, there has to be chain of command and protocol. Each and every time an employee is disciplined, reprimanded, there's not an opportunity for you to go to other folks and whine and complain and launch a pity party. We're running a business. This is a business. And we have to consider all of the other employees who are a part of this government. But bigger than that, we must be the best stewards of the taxpayers' dollars. We can't just loosely give out severance packages and severance pay, particularly to those people who quit their job and walk away from their responsibility. I want to make sure that there's a clear distinction in the day-to-day management of the office of the chairman being the day-to-day manager and the county administrator versus the policymakers for legislation and appropriation for budget from post 1 and post 2. Our goal is to be as inclusive as possible. We're bringing back the work session so we can be transparent and talk about these things. My frustration is that of the same of many people who've spoken tonight and those who've sent emails regarding the action taken concerning this severance pay. We've already, through the actions of the board, given Mr. Diaz this paycheck. Next week, we're going to be taking a vote. I've already announced I'm not voting in favor of it. It sends a poor message to the employees. It sends a poor message to the citizens of Rockdale County. I'm appalled by this action. It sets a precedent and it puts us in a very liability situation as relate to litigation and what message we're sending to every single taxpayer as well as employee who's watching this. Robert's Rules of Order tells us through this proceeding, this is an opportunity to talk about those things that are coming before the board. And then the following week, we will do what we've done in previous years and previous time. We will make a vote and make a decision on it. It gives the public an opportunity to weigh in and hear what's going on. We knew tonight was happening. There was nothing so urgent that we couldn't put this on the agenda the proper way and follow the procedures that we have governed ourselves by time after time after time. We can't be cherry picking and selective with this employee or that employee. Anytime we allow our emotions to get into play, we're headed for disasters. Director Rutledge, it's been a long night, very robust work session, and I want to know, is there any need for executive session tonight?
No, Mr. Chairman.
Chairman,
Williams, go right ahead.
I didn't, Chairman, could I say something?
Yes, you can, go right ahead.
Okay, I didn't know you were going to bring this back up, but I would like to make a comment. I too have heard the recording from the meeting. And we know that that only one person has to know. There are teachers who have been fired because of a student who's had a video or done a recording. If that had been a student and a teacher had spoken to them like you spoke, they would have been fired. Your response was emotional. It was not objective and it was not professional. It in fact was embarrassing to me that someone who is at a director professional level would have been spoken to in that manner. There is an appropriate way to disagree. And that was not the appropriate way to do it.
Well, and I appreciate your comment. Let me say to you, I appreciate your comment, Commissioner, but one of the things that did happen, if you felt that the chairman did anything that was inappropriate, I think there's an internal policy and an internal mechanism through the county attorney and through our human resources office to address that. You didn't do that. You heard from an employee who reports to me, who got ticked off because he got chewed out. That's an adult. We're not talking about a child or children here. We're talking about an adult who makes a 6-figure salary, who has a county vehicle. We're talking about a decision that was made behind the scenes. We had an opportunity tonight to address it through this work session, then vote on it next week. We're not talking about children, teachers, and parents. We're talking about people who get paid a 6-figure salary. And you're right. I will stand by every single word that I said to Director Diaz, who makes a six-figure salary, when I reprimanded him on his actions and behavior. If you thought after listening to that, number one, you really should have been entertaining it, but since you did, you should have come to me by way of the county attorney and or the chief of staff and did an inquiry, and you would have got clarity on it. You all fell into the emotions of one director. And while we're talking about this, so let's bring clarity. A 20-year employee who has breast cancer, Black and a female, was let go with no severance. An employee who was a chief of staff with less than 5 years of service left with an $81,000 severance package that was approved by you and Commissioner Washington. You just took a 4-year employee who quit his job. I want to slow down and say this because I want to make sure everybody's hearing what I'm saying. Regardless of how I chewed him out, he quit his job. He wasn't fired. And as a result of quitting his job, he ran to the other two commissioners, threw a pity party, and y'all rewarded him. Now, take the recording, take the video. Anybody that's getting a six-figure salary that works in Rockdale County that reports to Chairman Oz Nesbitt will be held accountable. If they can't stand the heat and the level of accountability coming from this office and my leadership, then they're working at the wrong place. My goal is to make sure everybody's respected. But at the same time, as a leader, there's calls for times when I've got to turn the heat up to get people attention. Educator for a long time. As you deal with different children and as you interact with parents, there's different situations and different scenarios. What you didn't do was contact the office of the chairman and find out what was my thoughts and my concerns about it. What you didn't do is have the county attorney to contact me concerning it. You did not contact human resources. Neither did you contact the chief of staff and say, I'm concerned. I heard the tape. I saw the video. What made the chairman go off on the director the way he did?
Your Honor,
I noticed that the chairman didn't fire him. 4 days later, this guy quit. Right after that, you all decided to give him a whopping $31,000 severance package for quitting his job. And you say because he threw a pity party, he got mad that the chairman chewed him out?
Your Chairman,
No, I think there was
far
more
beyond a pity party.
Right.
The words and the actions on that recording were so egregious that both of us independently felt it was something. And then because of your previous narcissistic behavior, we did not feel comfortable coming to you at all.
Well,
so
you got a county
if you're
attorney.
dealing with a narcissist,
you are
going to have your authority will be.
And you have a chief of staff. You have a county attorney and you have a chief of staff. You are an attorney and you understand protocol and chain of command.
And sir, I would appreciate it if you would lower your voice when you're speaking to me.
And you also have a ton of other employees and citizens listening and watching how you make the decision to get emotionally caught up in one particular director.
And if that recording was not so egregious with you being emotionally caught up on somebody merely asking, you requested a certain things and they gave them exactly what they wanted or thought was appropriate, and you got beyond beside yourself in a recorded behavior in a recording that would have brought more than what we have given him in a severance package in legal fees alone.
So
I don't think that anybody, I don't care how old they are or how much time they have been at this county, deserve to be treated in the manner in which you have treated. Now, there are emergency vehicles outside the front of my house, so I'm going to excuse myself and so that I can go and see what's going on. And you all have a good evening.
While you going to see what's going on in front of your house, let me take care of people's business. And I'm going to go on record to say this very clearly, because here's the thing. I am the chairman of day-to-day operation. All but 3 employees report directly to the chairman. Every time an employee has a disciplinary problem or being reprimanded, when they come and break the protocol and the chain of command and go run into another commissioner, first of all, for you to even entertain that is out of order. But if you thought it was warranted, if you really thought and compelled to do something, you have a county attorney, human resources officer, that you could contact human resources and your county attorney along with your chief of staff and express your concerns to do an inquiry. You could have reached out to the chairman and say, tell me what this is all about. Did I use explicit language in calling Director Diaz out? The answer to that question is yes. I chewed him out and it was warranted. He didn't get fired. What you all didn't do was follow protocol. You cut a check without it coming across the minutes. There was no need us even talking about this tonight in a work session, and then next week we're supposed to vote on it. He already has the money. We're never going to get the money back. But what kind of message does it send to all the other employees as well as to the taxpayers of Rockdale County? The next thing, the next time the chairman, the CEO, the day-to-day manager, the county administrator decides to chew out an employee, guess what? Post 1 and post 2 has absolutely nothing to do with running the day-to-day operation. That's my responsibility. If that employee felt that he or she was done mistreated or something like that, they have a protocol in place to follow that protocol. So the fact that he came into my office and recorded me tells you something right there. That tells you something within itself. So whatever I said to Director Diaz, I stand by it.
It's not the only recording he has, because he
fine.
knows that things have been inappropriate.
That's fine.
Let me just say that yes, you run day-to-day operations. I get that. I don't want to do that. However, when it comes to directors, you can't approve or appoint a new director without a board vote. So if you can't approve a new board or a new director without a board vote, you also can't fire without a board vote, because we can vote to continue to have that person on board.
You can make that decision. You're absolutely right. And that
yes, and so
at some point,
if one of the directors is not being supported in a way that is appropriate, that is use language that was inappropriate, unprofessional demeanor, we have a right to protect that director, and I will stand by my decision.
Well, and I will stand by my decision as well.
I respect you to stand by your decision. I don't have a problem with that.
Well,
I have a problem with you thinking that we were emotional about what we decided. And that is not the case at all.
Well, Commissioner Williams, make sure you hear me clearly. You didn't contact me. Neither did the chief of staff, the HR director, or the county attorney.
I don't report to you. I do not report to you. There was no need for me to contact you.
You don't report to me, but if this concern was that high in nature to you, you had the right to reach out to this office by way of the county attorney, the HR director, and the chief of staff to validate those concerns and complaints. Any employee who's disgruntled or unhappy, particularly that employee that ends up getting a chewing out by Oz Nesbitt, may come running to any one of you two commissioners, whining and crying. I see this, an adult who makes 6 figures, who reports to me, I'm in charge of day-to-day operation. If you don't agree with it, there is a way to do it. But besides that, as it relates to the protocol and the transparency of this vote, that happened behind closed doors, in the darkness of the night. We should have talked about it tonight and voted on it next week. Next week, you and Commissioner Washington will be voting yes to the check that you've already given out taxpayers' dollars. And I'm not going to just vote no. I'm not just voting no. In fact, Chairman Oz Nesbitt is voting hell no.
Well, let me just say that the money he received is far less than the money you have asked for in a raise through the state legislature.
You can't compare my.
Oh, I can.
With what an employee asked for in a raise.
I can.
Those are two different conversations.
Well, that's another conversation to have.
The citizens of Rockdale County put me here, not that employee. Director Rutledge, I've had enough of this conversation. The citizens clearly have seen tonight that there is no transparency. The two commissioners have spoken. They've spoken loud and clear. They've already given out a check. And the employees and the citizens of Rockdale County will have to take up this issue in the best manner that they see fit. Tomorrow, I am the day-to-day manager of Rockdale County. I'm the chairman and the CEO. There may be an employee who may not like if they get disciplined by old school Oz Nesbitt with strong level of accountability. Just because you get a fussing out, you can't come running to your mom and daddy and crying because you got chewed out. You got to take it like an adult who takes a six-figure salary with a county car and rock with that. That's what you have to do. And I would hope that my two colleagues in the future, in the event that this happens again, they contact the county attorney, human resources, the chief of staff, and say, hey, is there any validity to what is being said? And why would an employee be recording the chairman? I've known George Diaz since he was 15 years old, a student in my classroom. He was also my campaign manager, and I hired him in 2017. I don't throw pity parties. This is a business we're running. This ain't no daycare. If there's no need for executive session, this meeting is adjourned.